Well. Welcome to the lounge, everybody. Pull up a drink and join us. For those of you that don't know how to open a beer with a lighter, pay attention. You see that? It's that easy. Anyways, what are we going to talk about tonight, Stefanos?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. I'm going to talk a little bit about, the little Trudeau thing. I just noticed something that's a little bit fishy for me, but I'll point it out. We'll see where it goes. And yeah, I don't know. I think I also found a homeless guy, and I got him connected. So he's backstage right now. We'll bring him on in a little bit too. And yeah, he's all right. I won't say who is surprise guest. No, it's not Dr. Rona, although I'm gonna bring him on one of these nights. What do you mean no, Ed? What do you mean?
And as you guys know, we've been talking a lot about what's been going on in the Robert Land Academy for the last 3 weeks. I want to get into what's happened to some of these guys and why it's happened, and the leniency that the courts are putting on these pedos and the after effects that are lifelong. Um, my age, I thought we lived in a pretty good country. We had good, courts were fair, the cops were fair, everyone's doing their job properly. But I don't know, this thing is just shattering that reality for me. Oh, one more thing, guys, share this out. We do have a surprise guest coming in, repeat guest, or should we call him a repeat offender?
Yeah, absolutely. Repeat offender for sure.
He's definitely going to offend somebody. Hopefully me tonight, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Hey, look at the audience. Look what they said right here. See, and you're shaking your head no. My goodness. See that? There's a fan base right there.
Some people don't know Dr. Rona the way I know Dr. Rona.
All right. So let's just start off with the Trudeau thing before our guest comes on, because I love this guy. He's a little off the wall, but it's expected. But I still love the guy. But so I just noticed something. I heard everybody was doing. I watched everybody, and oh, hi, Bam Bam Man. I seen everybody going on. And everyone else too, and I actually seen somebody put a piece of a statement of claim. So we don't know if this is just a campaign trick, just a publicity stunt to try to get votes over to the Conservative Party, or if it's legit. Because, to me, since I dabble in the legal world a little here and there, if there was a lawsuit like this, it would be a big lawsuit. It would be like a lot of money, because this is very important. It would be a big lawsuit. And if the media is hiding stuff, definitely be a big lawsuit. But I see it says Form 7. And by the way, the other red flag is what I'm going to bring up. Form 7, small claims court. So somebody's trying to make a pitch for the Constitution in small claims court. I don't know. And if it's a lawyer, that's even a bigger red flag, because lawyers barely ever do small claims cases, because the lawyer's bill will cost more than what you sue for. And the max in small claims is what, 50,000. So I can't see it. I really can't see it. It just makes no sense. But that's it. That's what I'm going to say. That's all I'm pointing at.
Actually, I was trying to find that post. It's circulating. Actually, I know where I can find it. I know where I can find it. I thought I'd found. I sent this a whole bunch of stuff to your chat. I mean, to your messenger? Huh.
Yeah, I did see it, and I had seen that particular one about 1,000 times. So this is like I'm saying, it's just this is throwing me off quite a bit there, quite a bit. It's just not adding up to me. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And a lot of it is just basically a meme with Trudeau looking at his stuff, but nothing's actually showing. It was just, but it does say in there that it's small claims court, right? So this, you know what? I'd actually like to see the statement of claim actually. And well, here you go. It's 115,000 per week in tax credits. So, does it make sense that you're going to bring a small claim action where they're claiming 150,000 per week in tax credits by 2020, right? And all of this crap, but the limit is 50,000. So he's suing for the maximum allowed of 50,000. Well, that's not gonna even be half of what you're they're getting a week in tax credits or whatever it was that I just read. Yeah, per week. So, and that was by 2022. What's it now? I don't know what it's now. Um, I just this to me stinks to high heaven. I can't see for the life of me why it would be just that. Uh, and so here's the claim. So the filing cites a litany of national issues, including a rise of tent cities, inflation, and personal safety concerns as the needlessly difficult reality caused by the media's alleged non-disclosure. The claim includes 20,000 for pain and suffering related to mental distress, 20,000 for quantifiable monetary losses due to rising costs of living, and 10,000 in punitive damage to address the plague of withholding newsworthy material. 10,000, these guys are probably shitting it out their ass in the morning or in a coffee. That's not, these are all like super small. They just, that's all I'm going to say. It stinks to high heaven. I'm going to sit and wait and see what happens here. If this gets tossed and if it does get tossed, I wouldn't be surprised in the least. So that's all I'm going to say. This all stinks and maybe just a publicity stunt.
Yep. Well, who knows? It's hard to tell these days, but yeah, something just doesn't make sense on this one again. Anyway, shall we bring in our guest? And we got Monique coming in about 15 minutes.
Uh,
Just give you a heads up. You want to announce this guy?
yeah. Down from the dungeons in the depths of hell in Wellandport, now known as California. We got Peter the Merrick here, so he's a coming in. Here he
We're
is.
celebrating, guys. I just got served my official divorce papers. So that means I'm going to be legally single 6 months yesterday. That is October 9th. So I'm going to be with Dr. Rona and Stefano, and we're going to party, right? Yeah, you're going to come?
Absolutely.
I'm coming in to where it all started.
There you go, Ed. He's coming right back from one hell to another, and
No, I'm getting out of hell.
well, this is what I mean. You went from one hell coming back to another. You're just visiting, and then you're going to celebrate being released from hell.
You know what you should do? I was very fortunate at when I was in Toronto last. Stefanos, I, and Dr. Rona got together, And Steph, if you could play that one, if you could find it, because it was a riot.
No, I don't have it, unfortunately, on me. It's somewhere in my hard drives somewhere.
Okay, because we actually, you and I that day just came back from Robert Land. And Dr. Rona was normally is a gynecologist. However, that day he was my therapist.
Yeah, you received some good therapy that day at night.
We got to find it. It was back, I believe it was the beginning of October. So it's on your Facebook. So if you can find it, because it basically goes back to a day that Steph and I went to Robert Land. It was great. I can't mention the gentleman's name because he's a police officer who went to Robert Land, who joined us at a place that cops like hanging out for about 2 hours.
Too much information.
Okay, but he hung out with us at a Tim Hortons. That's all I'm going to say. And then after that, Steph and I went to Robert Land Academy, and it was a really eerie experience. And the reason it was eerie for me, you have to share about yourself, is because the school was closed, and we called a good friend of ours, Adrian. I'm not going to give his last name. And we went for a tour of the school, and it was very eerie. And we were discussing the abuse we went through. And one of the things that we did is we went to the back 40. Now, the school was on 168 acres. So we went to the back 40 to look for the nut trees because we were not given enough calories. So we would go back there to find nuts to live on. Because if you got punished, Ed, they would have you burn up to 5,000 calories, and they'd only give you milk and 2 pieces of like Wonder Bread. We're not even talking, it's not even edible. It was
you're lucky. I didn't get that. I got 1 slice of bread and a glass of milk.
Well, you were 5'4", you midget.
I think I was 4 or 5. You mixed that around there.
I don't know. You were little at that point. You didn't grow until later, but you were little.
So, anyways, they beat you up a little bit. They starved you guys a little bit. They abused you, and you got out.
We were so young. Like in essence, it was. You could probably pull this up, Steph, on YouTube, showing you and I marching back in 1981 on the 5th Estate. Like there's little you and there's me. Find it. I think the audience like it because you're looking at 2 old men. We talk about like right now, Peel Police is doing an investigation on the child abuse that happened at the school for 47 years. And I ended up speaking to the gentleman. I was asked not to mention anything that I talked about, but he was like 42 years old and I'm 57. I'm calling him a puppy. Like he was a puppy when this abuse was happening.
Yeah. So the reason why we're not, the reason why we're not going to mention any names tonight is because there's criminal investigations, actually multiple criminal investigations going on. And we don't want to mess up those investigations or throw the cases.
And I'm not giving any details about it. However, I have to share with you, the brain is very interesting because we can justify anything. Like this was my story and everything. But when you look back, Ed, and you look at what we experienced, for a Canadian kid, I'm sure someone in war zone like Ethiopia or Somalia or something that's worse. But for a Canadian kid, what we experienced was something that an average kid didn't experience.
And were there any long-term effects of this? Did you notice anything?
Didn't I just show you my divorce, like my papers? Like, come on. I can't keep a relationship. I can't form it. We have trust issues, right? The shark.
Well, everybody knows you're a gold digger. You marry for money.
Oh no, no. Because let's put it this way: I paid enough in the settlement I'm giving that I could have got a gold green card.
Okay.
So no gold digging here. I got to tell you, my whole life can't enjoy it. Like one of the things that Steph and I talk about is to be an adult. You know, you when you sit down with people, you should eat normal, right? You should eat slow and not try to eat it right away. Like I have to stop like after 2 or 3 bites and wait for everyone to be finished, because at Robert Land, if you didn't eat, let's say, a full plate of carbs, because they didn't give us vegetables, they didn't know what vegetables were, that you had to eat it in like a minute and a half. And everybody we went to school with has that problem. And a lot of guys that we went to school with have weight problems because of that. You know, that's just one of the things. I heard from someone who took over as the chef from the first chef when the Shark and I, Steph, went to Robert Land Academy. They spent 60 cents a day on food on each kid. And I don't know how much they spent on Steph, because he said he only got a piece of bread and milk. And it wasn't even milk. It wasn't milk. It was powdered milk. And it was, and they did put, you know, something on it. It was, what was it? Vegetable oil, which they call margarine, right? Which is probably the cheapest thing, because they used to buy it like in big things like this. It's gross.
I remember I snuck in one day into the kitchen, and remember those pickles? They had this big, giant freaking jars, and the pickles were giant, and I stole one, and I got caught, and then I got freaking PT'd to death for it.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy. And when I first went there, Ed, they had 16 formal punishments. And the people running the school, the headmaster was only 30 years when I went there. And when Steph went there, he was 31. You got to remember, we were like, you know, I was 11 and I just turned 12. And Steph's a little younger than me, but not much, by a few months. He was 11. These guys in their early 30s were making decisions and doing things on kids that had impacts that these guys were kids themselves. They didn't know. You know, like they were given such power, and they were losers. And I'm going to say why losers. A lot of people, they did a study on the staff and they found that the turnover was about close to 50% every year. So some of these people, I consider them complicit because they knew something was wrong and they left, but they didn't say anything. But there were a number of people who stayed there for a number of years who participated. And maybe they didn't directly participate, but they saw it happen.
You know, Peter, I just had a very odd thought that hit me about the pickle story there. And I said the word stole. So did I really steal it? Like, didn't our parents pay like crazy amounts of money to have us there? Like that pickle is probably paid for a million times over. That's crazy. I just thought of that. Nah.
Yeah. Like, think about it. Well, you know, it's so screwed up. And I want to share with you certain things that I've noticed over the years. And this is where, you know, you deal with such stress, you don't realize it until you step away and you talk to people. And you asked about the after effects, because Steph and I are like, we're talking over 40 years. He was a cute kid. Did you see pictures when he was 20 years old? He was a good-looking guy. Look, he abused the shit out of himself because of this school, right? Look at him. It's like I looked at him. He looked like this Greek Adonis, and he is Greek, right? And it doesn't matter. I'm not. I don't play for the other team, but I'm asexual because I'm old now, right? So
just for the record, I'm still an Adonis. Okay.
Okay, he's still an Adonis. You want to tell yourself that? I'm not going to go and like.
Come on, we try to keep
delusion. But Ed, I want to share with you what we noticed by talking, because many of us were so shell-shocked. And just to give it perspective for your audience, you go through this horrific thing like a war. You're a war. You're like, it's, you know, Steph tells a story about a really good friend of ours, and he lived in Steph's barracks, and he killed himself. Like, we tried to kill himself and we can't find him. 40 some years later, they just took the ambulance and he was gone, and we never know what happened to him. We don't know if he's dead. We can't find him. basically there's so many kids that we went to school with who are dead, and it's disproportionate. It's about 35 in the first 10 years after you left Robert Land, 35 times higher than the suicide rate for that age. And they compared it to kids who went into reform schools, and they found out that it was 3 times higher than someone who was put into a reform school. We have guys that we went to school with. They ended up either in the Canadian military or they ended up in hard prison. And they said Robert Land was tougher. And Robert Land in 2000, there was a syndicated columnist. He's dead now. His name was Mike Kelly in the States. He was asked to write a series of articles on military schools. And he asked a question, and this was pretty scary. The question is, like, what happens to a kid who gets kicked out of a military school? And he found Robert Land Academy up in Canada. And it was advertised about Robert Land Academy. There were no walls. No, there was no walls. It was in the middle of nowhere. If you ran away from the school, you had to go and walk 10 miles on a road. And now I have to put in perspective. I have no hair now. I'm bald. I'm happily bald, not like you gentlemen who still have hair. A little thin, but you still have hair. Now, back then we had short hair, and we were wearing like these green uniform, I don't know, like jumpsuits or whatever. The police would come, the Niagara Regional Police would pick us up, and they would take them back, and the punishment, what they ran away from, ended up being nothing. The abuse that they got when the police just handed them back without child services just asking, why are you running away? We're talking 11, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-olds, right? Like they're kids. It reminded me of the story of Jeffrey Dahmer. Like there was a situation, that mass murderer in Cleveland, he, like, you know, a kid, a Vietnamese kid escapes from him. The police pick up the kid and they bring him back, and Jeffrey Dahmer kills the kid. This is in essence what the Niagara police did. For the entire time the school existed, no one asked, why are you running away? No one asked. It was crazy. So let me just share with you the things that we've noticed when we got together. One, most of the kids who left the school, after they get a little calm and the cortisol goes down, they have nightmares. And it's not academic, but I've asked about 200 people over the last 40 years, do you have the nightmares? That's the first thing I ask, and they all say it. Steph, do you have the nightmares?
I still do, fortunately, unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm back there. I'm digging ditches. I'm standing out in the middle of February. No hat, no gloves.
Oh, shit. Do you remember the ditch digging crap on how they got us in there and then dig? That was crazy. That was Smith, I believe. That was Smith at that time.
Well, I even say it's something scarier that I can't get into detail, but I just remember this. So they didn't have running water at. They had to truck it in. So not only did we like have to take a 20-second shower, which is okay, and they didn't have flush toilets. They had the grossest environmental toilets that 12 guys were using, and and punishment, and even not punishment, was cleaning them out once every 2 weeks.
And that was freezing showers, okay? Freezing cold.
Yeah. But one thing that I didn't realize, we always talk about how we were food deprived. That was always, that's what we all talked about. But you know what I realized today, because they were trucking in the water? We were water deprived. They did it. We were limited to the water that we had because they had to truck it in, and it cost money. How much water we got to drink. We were forced, we were starving, we were thirsting to death, and we were being PT'd. So the nightmares happened, and my nightmares didn't start happening until I was like 25. Like I was told about it the first time when I was 16 by a former, are you waving to me?
Yeah, we're gonna bring Monique on. She doesn't have a lot of time.
Okay, please bring Monique.
All right,
Hi,
Monique.
guys. Hello. How are you?
Monique, I watched you. I liked your work you did. You're the one who went to that school.
I did. Yes, I did.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. My cousin attended Robert Land Academy. So
When did he attend?
I think it was so I can't remember exactly if it was 98 to 99 or 99 to 2000. Hey, Stefanos, my brother from another mother. I love you so much. But he passed away in 2001 of leukemia. So, but yeah, the yearbook's missing. So I don't, but we have photos of him because I kept everything. So thank you guys for speaking out and giving Mike a voice. I really appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about Moms Resist and what's going on Saturday.
Yeah, so we have a huge event taking place across North America. It's called the Save Our Children event. So it's April 11th. It's across North America. If you go to the flyers, Ed, you'll see the Canadian locations right there. There you go. And you can slide through them. So we've got Stratford, Ontario, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Nanaimo, BC, Toronto. We've got Hamilton, Ontario. Oh, there's a couple more if you keep going. There's also Quebec in there. I'm not sure where that one is, but yeah, so there is going to be over 200 cities across North America. And we are angry citizens, parents, mothers, fathers, and we want to end child exploitation and child trafficking. This has gone on for far too long. What happened at Robert Land should have never taken place for as long as it did. And this is still happening, guys, in the world, and we know it. So we need people to take a stand for our children. The abuses against children and the children that are being trafficked right now, not only in Canada, but across the world, it's an endemic. And if we don't take a stand for them now, who will? Who will? So I hope everybody shows up in their respective cities, and we'll be putting out a promo video. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my organization, Moms Resist. I'm the state leader for Save Our Children in Canada, and my organization, we are again trying to end child trafficking and child exploitation. It's ambitious, but it's our goal. So there is a petition on there to sign the National Sex Offender Registry to make that public, because right now only law enforcement has access to that, and everybody should be made aware of where these offenders are, because the reoffend rate is 1 in 4, and they're put back into our communities with our most vulnerable. And there's other ambitious goals that we have there, and that's to amend laws. So no early release, no bail, and that these sexual predators be met with the harshest laws. We don't want them back in our communities. We don't want this anymore. This needs to end, and we as citizens and human beings need to just come together once and for all. Once and for all, guys. Like, put our differences aside. We all have, we have to protect them. We have to. So I hope that everyone can be there. And I thank the brave survivors of Robert Land for coming out with your story and exposing this, because it's not just, unfortunately, an isolated incident in this country. And we know that there are many. So there's no less than 15 former staff teaching at Fort Erie International Academy at this moment.
Okay, so Monique, when I first started talking to you about this a few months ago, I says, what are you going to do? What difference is it going to make? Is it going to just be a protest? I said, no, we plan on getting some stuff done. And then last night I hear Lisa Robinson talking about some stuff. Can you tell us what she's doing and what else we can do about what she's doing?
Yeah, so we will have that on our website. We're going to make it ironclad and super easy for people to do. So Lisa has put forth a motion within her council meeting. So she's a city councilor for the Durham region. And she's basically, this will go out to all MPs, all MPPs. It'll go out to the Prime Minister. And this is, so she's put forth a motion to make the National Sex Offender Registry public. So we need to put pressure on, we start from the bottom and work our way up, our city councilors. And what we have to, once this is on the website, you'll have to send it to your city councilor. And we're going to give you the full list of those city councilors. And you're going to say, we want you to receive and endorse. I believe that's what it is, but I will put it in a very clear order on the website so that everybody can, send it out, and it'll be simple for everybody to do.
Yeah, and so she's going to be looking for, once this is endorsed, I believe it's in another week or so, there's going to be, we're going to be, each individual goes to their counselors and says, hey, are you guys going to endorse this too or not? And it is an election year, so each individual can put pressure on their local town council, and they can escalate it up the ladder of power. Stefanos, what do you think about this?
I think everything needs to get done. Everything needs to. I like it. I like everything that Monique's doing. I like everything that Lisa's doing. The more the merrier. I really love Bam Bam, what he's doing. He's obviously the guy who's kicked all this off, and he's a real good guy. I owe him a lot, and it's selfless, and I like that everybody's standing together and doing all of this stuff. It's great.
We kind of have to attack it right from, like, we're in our lane, and you're doing it with
multifaceted, right? Like those are your best attacks. You're right. It's multifaceted. You got to come from every angle. So the more, maybe you're doing something that maybe I'm not, or somebody else is not, and that's how the gaps get filled in.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, guys. I'm very busy with everything that's just the planning part of things. So I'm responding to text messages as they come through.
So do we got to let you go now or what?
I can stay on for another 10 minutes if you need me to, but I think if you guys want to continue talking, I've said what I needed to say.
Okay, so again, I'll just reiterate, we need people to get involved. The more people that can put pressure on the local councilors, the more people can sign petitions, the more people that can raise awareness. And I guess, like myself, you hear sex trafficking, you hear child abuse, you hear about it, but it doesn't really touch you. And you think nothing of it. And then it dawned on me, like, well, how about if this was one of my nieces or nephews, or some other kid? How about if this is someone that's going to be helping me when I get older? Is this the reason why we've got rising crime rates? And we're going to get into that a little bit later. The amount of people that, especially from Rabbit Land, that end up in jail that shouldn't have been there to begin with, and the price that these kids pay as adults and how it affects their lives. So it's not just it's not like a car accident happens. Okay, you go to the doctor, you get fixed, car gets fixed, and it's done and over with. No. Lifelong injuries. And as a society, we're losing big time because we're allowing this to happen. And the cops have been dropping the ball. The judges are dropping the ball. We got to get involved. We got to get active. We got to go to these courtrooms. We got to put pressure on those that we trusted, and they failed us. If you do nothing, nothing's going to change. And society's just going to keep collapsing as far as I can see. Anybody else want to prove me wrong?
No, Ed, you're 100% bang on about that. And, this has gone on for far too long, and it's happening right now. It's right under our noses. I have a lot of information of schools all over the world right now that are similar to Robert Land Academy. There's many in Canada. There's many in the US. There's many in the UK and the United Kingdom. There's others that are opening up around the world. One of the oldest schools in the United Kingdom that's been open, and I'm just going to say this, since the 1500s. This has been going on for that long. And there was a gentleman by the name of Phoenix. I forget his name. He's a journalist, but he leaked this story. If I could just get
No names tonight, Monique. Please. There's criminal investigations going on. No names.
in the United Kingdom. I won't say it.
Your call.
I won't say it.
The United Kingdom, go ahead, do your thing. Just not the stuff around Robert Land or anything like that.
No, nothing around Robert Land. It's okay. I don't have to. It's a people should know about this school though in the United Kingdom. Everybody should know about it. And this has been going on since the 1500s. So this is going to continue if we don't try to save our children, guys. We have to save our children.
Can I add two things?
Sure.
Ed, when you were talking about if we don't get involved, I remember what Jefferson said. He said, when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's liberty. And that's really why it's so important first to go out. And Monique, one of the things that stick in my mind is, I didn't know this, but when Robert Land Academy was founded, there was a school called Horizons in Camp Keewatin, and it had to do with kids who were even worse than whatever the kids were at Robert Land.
Have you heard of Grenville in Brockville? Grenville Christian?
I've heard of
Is it Greenwich or Gren? I have it written down.
It was Grenville. But what I wanted to share is, because you brought up England, there was a priest who was one of the founding governors and one of the founders of I think it was the Corporation for Learning Disabilities. I can't remember what the foundation was, but this pedophile, it was found out after he died, he was a pedophile who helped found Robert Land Academy. There's a certain prince who I'm going to say it was Prince Andrew, that pedophile creep. He said this guy was his best friend, and when this creep was dying, he flew into Canada and he was holding his hand. And this is fact. So, and it's like, and the fact that when you say this,
yeah, he's the second co-founder, right? So that's what he was, Prince.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's like you had Prince Andrew saying he was his best friend because he also went to one of these schools up in Canada when he was sent here.
Who, Prince Andrew?
Yeah, he went to Lake. Let me look it up.
Can I just tell you guys the name of the school in the UK?
Yeah, please.
For the viewers that just want to look this up, it's called Aldenham in the United Kingdom. Aldenham. There's a prep school, so it's Aldenham, and just look up child abuse at Aldenham school. And the journalist who broke this story was actually a student there, and his name is Phoenix Caspian. And then just look at the ties there. It's going to be kind of mind-boggling. So, and then there's also, if I could just add to that really quickly, it's there's a couple here. Just give me 1 second. There's also Mill Hill School. There's a few more. Mill Hill also has claims against it. So former Mill Hill teacher charged with online sex offenses. So this is in the UK. And these are private schools. So this isn't just happening. It's happening everywhere, guys. And I just want the world to be aware of what's going on. We know what happened at Robert Land, and it's right under our noses. It's actually shocking. And yeah.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
You think we're going to be able to talk about this in a couple of weeks when Bill C9 passes and C22 and all those other crazy bills?
I will. No, I can't. I have to wait until I got my American citizenship to denounce my Canadian citizenship.
You're gonna revoke yours like me? Look, I found that video you were talking about.
I wanted to share that Prince Andrew went to Lakefield. I was at Lakefield because that's where he met this guy.
I was talking to one you were talking about. The Fifth Estate.
Yes.
All right, here. Let me see.
We're in a bit of
you guys, I just want you to look up a couple of things too, though, if you want to do some of your own research in regards to Aldenham. So there's also Aldenham Education Group, and then the Aldenham Foundation, along with Aldenham School. So there's a few things you might want to look up. It's terrifying. Yeah.
And we haven't even got into the trafficking component of what's happening to all these kids, and then the kids that are committing suicide are getting murdered. We haven't even touched on that.
They had a school called Hilda there. It just recently closed down due to low admissions, and this is devastating. But the prep, so this was like a nursery school inside of Aldenham. So it went from like nursery school all the way up to grade 12. And I think they were young as 3 years old.
Can you see this?
Can you blow it up to the full screen?
It is full screen.
No,
like this way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, here. Check it out. So
you got to see Stefanos and I.
Yeah.
We'll yell when it's me. You yell when it's
years of age, have been marching to a special beat since 1978.
We are.
There I am.
There he is.
Wow.
They're not lying about the special.
Look at that. Look at. Do I look the same? I don't know. That kid looks really mungled.
Yeah, you look exactly like you do now. It's a little left there.
In the middle of Operation Inspiration.
You're going to see
That was then himself only 26 years.
So Bowman, that's the big fraudster. Never been a day in the military. Claims he was paratrooper. Claims all sorts of shit.
Saw the need for a school which provided a combination of strict discipline, a fundamental curriculum, and a strong emphasis on moral values.
What are they getting here now?
The short kid. You know the really short kid? That's Stefano. There he is.
How dare that this prick uses
the short kid.
How dare he use me as an example, that little prick?
Perhaps out of this that he wouldn't be getting if he were in a public school back in Toronto or Vancouver. Here, giving these young.
So that's me beside Bowman now. I see how small I was. I was only 11 years old, and I had this fucking tyrant. I'd like to tower over him right about now. But yeah, this is the crazy thing. So this is the first year, and I'll tell you how you can tell it's the first year because, see, the guy behind me has got a cat badge. I got no cat badge. So I was a recruit at this point. So that was the first year. And as recruits, we had to run everywhere. We weren't allowed to walk except now.
Fellows, beginnings, a very solid base of discipline, of confidence in themselves.
And he would not get that in the public school system?
In our opinion, no.
Yeah.
So anyways,
this guy's dead. Like if we went through this video,
yeah,
we could probably point out that about 28 guys are dead out of 64.
Yeah, easily. There's I know everybody from my house is there's like just over half are dead that were in my barracks in Simcoe House at my time there. They're all gone.
I have a picture from the year before when Steph went there. He went my second year, and there were 64 kids my first year, and there were 75 kids with Steph's year. Now there was a picture that was taken at Fort George in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I would say half the kids in that picture aren't here right now. Now, yes, it was 45 years ago the picture was taken, but still, like I had a conversation today that was really sad, because there was when Steph and I went up to Robert Land, the guy we joined. That's scary. That's
Monique, you got to go. Final comment, please.
Oh, just keep speaking out, guys. It was so nice to meet you, Carol. And Stefanos, I love you. You're just a hero to so many. And I love you too, Ed. So just hope to see everybody show up April 11th. God bless you guys.
So hang on. It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock, Dundas Square in Toronto, right?
2 o'clock, Dundas Square, Toronto. Yes, I'll just let you know for the Dundas Square location that begins at 2 o'clock on Saturday. We have a former police officer speaking. We also have a beautiful soul, a mom whose daughter went missing several years ago and is now no longer with us. And so she's going to speak to what happened to her daughter. She was trafficked. So it's going to be important, but there's going to be a lot of information pamphlets there. We're going to have a beautiful singer songwriter. Actually, her son is a country and music award winner. And then we're going to proceed with the march with signs and just trying to help create awareness around this really serious issue.
And you'll be selling $2 bumper stickers too, right?
I really, maybe. I know, Ed. Okay, thank you, Ed.
All right, Monique, thanks for coming on. We'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday, Ed.
nice meeting you, Monique.
All right. So you guys were having fun there at Robert Land Academy, eating lots, playing lots of games.
Yeah, look at Steph. Like, look how cute he was back then. What happened, man? Like, you old fart.
Nice, safe place to grow up.
Well, Ed, before Monique joined us, and I think it was very important that she shared that, because Robert Land for us is really a metaphor of people not caring and not paying attention, and for our elected officials and for the police and these people we're supposed to trust in our public institutions don't give a shit. I would like to go back to the things that oh, you have a question?
No, but accountability keeps slapping me in the face every week, every day almost. There's no accountability in our public institutions, in our governments, in our police departments, in our medical system. There's no freaking accountability. But if I put one nail in the wrong spot, I'm fired. How does that work?
I got no concept. I really don't. But you
know what? I'm gonna pop up here and I'm gonna say this. We're not getting it in the courts, but don't blame the judges. Sometimes you can blame a judge, but don't blame the judges. Blame the politicians. Blame the Pierre Poilievres. Blame the Carnival Carnies. Blame the freaking Jags Meat Sings. Blame them guys. Every single one of those guys are garbage. Each one of them are garbage. Blame the Doug Ford. He won't put the fail safes that we want, these little safety nets. We know, like, we see it all the time. We see it all the freaking time that we see a teacher in the Catholic school system or the freaking public school, just a normal system. You're seeing it everywhere. You're still going to get them. But the important difference is the very simple fact that if those things were in place that we're asking, which, by the way, guys, conservatives aren't conservatives. They're pedo protectors. We got Doug Ford, who's a pedophile protector. We got Paul Calandro, who's a pedophile protector. You got Sam Oosterhoff, who's a pedophile protector. All these guys are pedophile protectors. Don't vote for them. What the freak is going on? What we're asking for is common sense. It's already in place for daycares. It's already in place in the public school system. but they absolutely refuse to meet with us, to speak with us, and above all, they absolutely refuse to put those two fail safes in, that if they were in back then, because the PC Party has been tied to the school since 1978, if those protections were in place, to have criminal background checks for all teachers and staffs, and the teachers to be registered with the College of Teachers, these absolute fucking monsters, drug dealers, murderers, violent offenders, convicted pedophiles, these guys would not have been at the school, and they absolutely were, because those protections were not in place, and there is zero protections when it comes to private school. Don't send your kids to private schools. They're the most dangerous environment possible that you can have your kid in, because there's only one requirement when it comes to inspection, and that's just to make sure that the Ontario school curriculum is being taught, and that's it. Living conditions, anything else doesn't matter. That's a problem. And the judges, I'm not going to rip on them, because their hands are bound also. They have to follow the legislation. So when they go and make these rulings and they're super fucking lenient, which they shouldn't be, it's because these rulings have been challenged. And what ends up happening, they're turning around and they're saying, well, this is cruel and unusual punishment because you've given this guy 2 years and you should have gave him instead 8 months of house arrest. So this is why, because it keeps getting challenged constitutionally and it's found to be cruel and unusual because it's too harsh of a punishment. They're saying the punishment doesn't fit the crime. But we all know, as survivors, we all know that that punishment we have is lifelong. And these fucks will get 8 months at home, which is bullshit.
Well, in the UK right now, I'm hearing stories about people that are getting charged for posts that they're putting on Facebook and other social media, and they're getting up to 10 years. That's coming here, guys, in a few weeks.
That's why I'm going to denounce as soon as I get my U.S. citizenship, I'm denouncing my Canadian, because I have a big mouth.
You got a what?
I have a big mouth.
Okay. If
like
you
during
say so.
COVID, I couldn't shut my mouth. I was wondering, didn't any people watch Sesame Street? Something doesn't make sense. It's and the Canadians were just lying down. But one of the things that I think is really important about what Stefanos said, we had an opportunity to look at a lot of the staff members who went to Robert Land, and there was a gentleman, his name was, and I'm going to say his name because I was a victim of his, so he can sue me all he wants because I want him charged. His name was Bill Arthurs. He worked at a notorious school which was called the St. John's Boys School. There was a Canadian National Film Board documentary in 1974 that shows these boys being abused at this school. That school closed in 1992. But in 1977, 12 boys drowned. He's all over that film. 12 boys drowned on they made them go 900 miles. Could you imagine? And they basically, their shoes, everything soaked. It was just, life survival. And they show SWATs and everything in this film board thing, right? And that got brought to Robert Land. But this gentleman, well, he's not a gentleman. He was a creep. He was 235 pounds. He was 6'4", and he relished punishing. He wasn't there when Stefanos was there. He got hired. He's the first bad hire, really bad hire.
No, he was there the very first year at the beginning of the school. He was there.
That was Rowe. He was let go because there was notorious.
Rowe came in, and then Rowe went, and then Smith took over for Rowe. But
right, no, they let we're old guys, but I have to correct because this guy was my tormentor my first year because I was like 5 feet tall. This guy here was hired at the school 3 months after that incident happened in Manitoba, where 12 little boys drowned because of the abuse that they put people through. And on this national film board where they're showing the abuse of this school, they're showing SWATs, they're showing like, you know, these kids, and nobody's coming and protecting them. Well, this guy brought that terror to Robert Land, because there's early articles of the headmaster, Scott Bowman, saying you should cry with the kids, you should do this with the kids, you should do that with the kids, you know, like being like 60-ish, 70-ish, you know, like free love and all that stuff, to this military form. And this guy here perpetrated one of the worst events at Robert Land, which happened on January 10th, 1991. He brought all 64 boys out, and there was a free-for-all from about 7:30 to about 12:30. And the only reason it stopped is because several of the boys were running away, and he knew he was going to go to jail. And the school should have been investigated. It should have been closed. What ended up happening was we weren't allowed to call our parents. Our letters were read, and there was a major cover-up, and it was something that was unbelievable. And this guy was not arrested, and this guy Jim Rowe, who backed him up, he was a mindless idiot. These guys here, I don't know, like I think Bill Arthur's age is getting to him. He's probably 80, 81, and he probably has Parkinson's right now, or that's what I was told. They hired the airborne after they disgraced Canada by torturing young kids who were the age of us at Robert Land. They killed, and they were court-martialed, and they got a job at Robert Land, and they were bragging to the parents, we have ex-airborne. They left out the fact that they had killed a child in Sudan. And because of that, they disbanded the entire airborne in Canada. They hired all these criminals. They hired them, and they were in charge of the kids. So even though it was bad when Steph and I went there, they continued it. Not only that, the government required that they hire a social worker. They hired a guy named Serge Leclerc. In 1978, he was put away for manslaughter. This guy here had the largest bust for drugs in Canadian history in 1984 when I was leaving. And then he goes to prison and he finds God. And he's hired at Robert Land to be the social workers. Now, let me tell you about Serge Leclerc. He was a brilliant guy. I met him. This guy he started selling drugs when he was like a little kid, and he grew his drug empire to about $250, $300 million a year by the time he was busted. He was huge. He was selling everything, meth, heroin, you name it. And he's in charge of these kids. Well, he left the school and he went over and became an MLA, a member of Legislative Assembly in Saskatchewan. And he wrote a book called From Lawbreaker to Lawmaker. Well, he died in 2010, and it came out that he was molesting pages and smoking drugs and all that stuff. And we've had conversations where he was doing this to kids at Robert Land. Like, it was an attraction towards these people. There was a guy that we went to school with, and I can mention because he actually got convicted. He worked at the school, very strange guy. His name was Wayne McNess. He starts his own school. And what ends up happening, he's charged for child endangerment. And this guy here was the assistant headmaster of the school. He got to the point where, like, he had the kids sleeping in this new boarding school in motels and having classes at where's your favorite place? Steph, where's your favorite place?
I don't know.
Having his classes
At the beer store?
Oh, second favorite place.
the liquor store, but
Fuck
you
that. Tim Hortons.
Oh, that's not a favorite place of mine, not anymore. But you know what you speak of. This same guy, he ended up having some. I think it was around 5 charges of fraud too, on top of that shit.
It's like crazy, and I'd like to believe it because it was really bad, Ed, when I went there, and they built these nice buildings, right, Steph? When we went there, it's like when we went there, it was a piece of shit, right? Like
it was a total shithole. Yeah,
like you wake up in the morning, like you be like under your sheets, your blankets, your 2 blankets, and you go like making it warm, and then you get up in the morning and your feet would freeze because like it was like the floor was like -20. You could skate, literally you could skate in the middle of winter.
In the article that they just come out that I done a couple of days ago, actually the photo of me in it, in the background you see the mess hall that was there, and then you could see part of I believe it was Brant House, and you know what else? And this is horrible, guys, because Dave Kales is in that picture. He's in the background, and he's also dead. He was another really awesome friend of mine, committed suicide too. Horrible.
I got to tell you a crazy story, and I've never shared this story live, but it's like it's stuck in my mind because like I was Patty Hearst. I was Stockholm syndrome because like I was so young. This is like literally they made us make a pledge to the school, which I remember. I, as a Robert Land Academy cadet, do here pledge allegiance to God, Queen, and country. It's like, and having us do that, like as a Robert Land, and cite the values. Come on, Steph. What are the values? Come on, Steph. Help me.
All right.
Come on.
Honor, loyalty, courage, commitment, and labor, and that's all fucking
bullshit. Loyalty, courage, commitment, and honor.
I said that, but labor is also in there.
Yeah, labor, loyalty, labor, courage, commitment, and honor. No, we were never told what this was. Like we were just repeating what they told us, and then we had a stupid listen to the chant they had us say: blood and guts, rocks and sand. We're the chaps from Robert Land. Eat 'em raw. Eat 'em raw. Robert Land. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, there you go.
They would teach us that. And, it's like we were told, we were doing something special. Yeah. And the problem, Ed, is even though the school aesthetically looked better, like they had permanent buildings, they like real gymnasiums. We didn't have a gymnasium. We didn't have anything. Everything was outside in the middle of winter when it was like minus. Like they would like our work, like our we would run. That's all they make us do. They make us run like 20 more. Like this is the crazy part. On average, you had to run 12 miles a week. But if you were on punishment, like my good little friend here, you got to run about 50.
50, a fucking 100, and then don't forget the other punishments, the triangles, the block, the old fucking block,
and digging ditches. You know what they would do, Ed? They would have. I saw this. Steph saw this, and you got to remember, you're a little kid. You don't know. You don't have agency. You just end up in this place, and these people are yelling and screaming at you. They can physically push you, and I don't let my parents off. My parents were complicit. They paid the money. I was shitting bricks, so when I was around them, I was well behaved because I was scared if they said anything, because I saw kids whose parents said, well, Johnny was misbehaving during this break, and they would go and punish Johnny for something that didn't even happen at the school, right? Because he violated the code of a Robert Land Academy cadet by a guy who was never in the army, right? Like a code.
Total bullshit. So here,
all bullshit.
Okay, keep going. Sorry, go.
I'm just getting I'm just getting so emotional about this stuff because I was like, people were like, I was Patty Hearst, like I thought like this is my story. But what I ended up finding out over the years, because I arranged the first get together, it was never associated with the school. And we got together. And if you guys ever saw Scared Straight, ever see those documentaries where they've got these hoodlum kids who end up going to jail and they get scared straight? What's that? I can't. What is that? Show it again.
again.
You're big now. Is that a gun?
Stefanos giving somebody the finger.
It is the finger with your favorite, what you just asked me. There you go.
Oh yeah. Loyalty, labor, courage, commitment, and honor. I got it in the right order. Your programming broke before mine.
There you go. All right. That's it. That's all. I forgot I had that. I was with my good buddy Glenn, Dr. Rona. Sorry.
Dr. Rona. So I just want to share, because before Monique showed up, there were several things that, you sort of noticed, but you didn't know. So I shared with you about the nightmares. Every time I see with people, I say, do you have the nightmares? Everybody had the nightmares. The nightmares is they're going back to school. And I was wondering why mine took longer. Like some people had the nightmares immediately. And I did. And, I'm a reader. I want to know, why are they having, I'm reading that the fact that I was really screwed up. I was really screwed up because it took about 10 years after I left before I had the nightmares. And many of the guys, when we started talking about what really happened, their nightmares have come back. So that was one. Number two, and this is the part that's, I don't know. When people go to war, you've got the legions. You even got those schools. Those schools that the Canadian government sent people. They have groups that they can get together, and talk about their abuse. None of us had that. Well, what ended up happening is many of these kids, it's like being in jail. And I lived with Stefanos for years. I didn't know where he was for 20 years, more than 20, probably 23 years. Like I see him, I don't see him. He lives with me, boom, he's gone, right? Like I don't know. Like we're all like dropped off and nobody can relate to us. It's like when they're talking about their childhood. I'll give you an example, Ed. I went to a private school in Toronto because my parents were too scared that I was going to really screw up with the freedom. And I remember this kid, he's saying, like, back then they didn't have those automatic callers saying your kid skipped class. Like it was a big deal. No one got called, right? Like 50 lates and stuff like that. This kid who went to this school, he says, oh my God, if you don't do your homework and you're late, they call your parents. I'm sitting there, I'm laughing. I'm saying, like, what are my parents going to do to me? What they haven't already done to me. Like they've already done the worst. Like, like that, like I'm going to send you to military school. Not only did they send me to military school at 11 years old, it was crowned the toughest school in North America by this guy who did a syndicated column, Michael Kelly. In 2000, like what are my parents going to do, Steph?
I wouldn't call it the toughest school. I'd say the most abusive school in all of fucking Canada. But that's what I like to call it.
Well, he said in North America. He didn't just. He said the United States came in. Actually, I'll give you an example. I told you I was Stockholm syndrome, so I would sometimes go to the fall exercise and watch the abuse that had happened to me. I didn't participate in it, but I watched it, right? The kids doing the fall exercise. And all these headmasters from different military schools in the States would come up and bring their kids, like, their top elite students to go on this. And most of them couldn't do it, right? They got and I'm listening to like their schools and I'm going, oh, that's so weak. Like an abused kid, like we got it tough and they should go. Like it was brainwashing, right? It was like literally we were brainwashed. So what ended up happening is a lot of these guys came back and they didn't fit in and they didn't have like therapy, because we went through post-traumatic stress, like something that nobody else could relate to. Only like Steph's my brother. I don't know, in a normal world would we be so close, but who am I going to talk to? It's not like I'm normal. And,
well,
he's a little normaler than me, but who am I going to talk to? Because like these experiences were so fucked up. But
Yeah.
what we also realized too, not only have we lost so many of the guys that we went to school with that we didn't know, we came back and we didn't fit into our communities, we didn't fit into our families, and basically we got no like counseling to talk about the trauma that young kids with undeveloped brains, like at least when you go to the army, you're like 18 or something like that, your frontal lobe is at least a little more developed.
Wait, you could go in the reserves at 16. Listen, Merrick, I don't know if I should tell Jamnisek this or not, but that seems so fucking weird saying Jamnisek. See, and I said that purposely because this is what they would do to us. We were not allowed to call anybody by their first name. It was last name only all the time, and like that caused problems for me, believe it or not, because I was in school and I'd be hey guy or this, and you know all these guys, it was all last names, and they would genuinely get pissed with me, and I'd end up in a fucking fight. And I want to address one fucking thing and then take it away again, because this, sorry, not that one. This, no, not that one. Where is it? Right here. This one.
We're getting some good things from Michael Lee. You should read what he's writing.
Steve, you mean Steve Lee. So, and this is what people don't understand, Steve, and this is fucking Stockholm syndrome being displayed in its full glory. A lot of people thought it was the greatest thing in the world because we had extracurricular activities. Well, congratulations. So you guys got to do a little bit of parachuting, you know, crap like that. Maybe fly a plane here and there. We got to freaking be with the gunship, the Huey gunships. We were involved in the fucking war games with the fucking U.S. and Canada with the Lincoln and Welland Regiment, and they were using Robert Land Academy as its base fucking camp when they were battling over the fucking control of the river in Wellingport. So, you know, who gives a fuck? Is that extracurricular activity makes it all worthwhile, the fucking beatings with a cricket bat or having a canoe paddle broken over you?
I want to share
drag while another one is fucking kicking you with combat boots. That is right there Stockholm syndrome, because these people are now fucking feelings of this shit being you know, good, or they got something out of it. Yeah, they got something out of it. A fucking parachute. They got the parachute and a fucking lifetime of mental illness that'll fuck them up forever.
Can I add something, Steph, which has actually been discovered, which is pretty frightening? The guys who have not woken up to what they went to, like they basically, like a lot of them are like really screwed up, like mentally. They're like, because they're suppressing it, right? They're like, you know, they're suppressing that. What the numbers showed, and this guy Ian, I'm not going to give his last name, but I love him and I hate him because almost every week, twice a week, he finds one of our dead, and he says he was what is he right?
Hey, that's not every week. That's every fucking day now. Every day, and yeah. It's not even one a day. It's like multiple a day.
Yeah, he writes like, you know, so and so is gone. He was a member of our group, and this is the year he went. And it's to the point where it's like, how does one, like seriously, like these are guys I broke bread with. I'll share a story in a second. I had a conversation today with someone, and it was mentioned that about me getting squats. Like when I was 11 years old, 5 feet tall, that guy Bill Arthurs, the headmaster would go and, you know, I'd be on headmaster's charge. I'm a little 5-year-old kid. I'm being pulled in the barn and I'm being hit with a cricket bat, or I'm being hit with a canoe paddle, backside, like all that stuff. And I found out it was legal until like 1983. So technically that child abuse.
No. It wasn't legal. It wasn't legal. You can't fucking beat somebody with a canoe paddle. It becomes fucking an assault. So even with this is one of the conversations we had, even though corporal punishment, there's a difference. Corporal punishment doesn't mean assault with a weapon. So corporal punishment back in those days were legal and everything else. So yeah, they could have spanked your ass with their hand if they wanted to, and probably you're lucky they didn't, because a finger would have been going up your butt instead, or something else, and because they were sick fucks there. And
Well, I have to share with you what made me really sad today.
Yeah, but this is what it was. Even it was not legal, because you cannot use a canoe paddle or a cricket bat or a fucking walking stick to hit anybody or to make them do anything. That's not corporal punishment. That's fucking assault with a weapon.
Well, I want to share with something that like impacted me, because it was a reminder, because I had forgotten. A gentleman that both Steph and I know, we got to hang out with him when we went back to the school the first time. He was in the he was in the photography, and he got beat all the time. And you wanted him, nicest guy, right, Steph? Nicest guy, sweetest guy, but he was uncoordinated. He was a kid. He was going through adolescence, right? He was uncoordinated. He kept on getting swats, While he was in the photography club, he had one of the students who we went to school with take pictures of his ass. And we're talking, it's like, you see pictures of someone beaten up and stuff like that. This is what her asses look like. His ass is solid purple, right? He took pictures of it. And,
all the way down to the knees.
It was terrible. But you know what the sad thing is? When we were talking today, he told me who took the picture. And this was the sweetest kid, and I'm going to mention his name, Patrick Fitzgerald. He was the sweetest guy. He was such a good guy. He OD'd in 92 and he died.
I was just going to say that.
He OD'd. And the thing is, like, I can't, it's like we're almost like the school is closed.
We were all in the photography club back then.
You were?
Yeah, all of us. Well, didn't you see the picture with me and fucking everybody together?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so, but this is the point.
Can I tell you why I'm laughing?
One of the staff members of that school, when we were there that day, said that he didn't really believe our claims and when we were all suing, and he didn't believe it at first. And then he said he was kind of sitting on the fence and he had some doubt. So I said, well, here, let me remove that fucking doubt from your head. And I'm not going to say his name, but I said, bring up the picture. And he brought it out, and he seen his ass. And at that point, he had tears in his eyes, hugged us all, apologized to every one of us. That guy there, I actually have respect for. And, I trust him with a kid. I trust him with my kid. He was
that
guy. Other guys know.
What's that court case about that child molester who was busted?
You're talking about Jonathan Alstead.
Yeah.
There's a publicity ban on John Alstead.
Yeah, there's a publication ban on Alstead, but
it doesn't affect me. I'm in America. I don't care.
Yeah, but we're Canadian.
Yes. So
I'm Canadian too, losers.
So hey, there's an article out there, and I'm just going to repeat the article. He had a girl. He was saying, making her call him daddy and shit. So that guy is fucking twisted. He actually has a daughter who was around the age of the girl he done whatever with, and so that's a sick fuck to the extreme. And since then, I've talked to students from 2025 when we closed it down. Talked to a few of them, great fucking guys, and they were telling me that they thought Alstead was a pedo because of certain things he was doing. I don't want to say anything in case they're still investigating him. I won't say anymore, but I'll talk to you after, and I'll let you know. Fucking sick motherfucker. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it was fucked up.
So where's the vetting? Like with these guys, they make good money. The principals and the
Come on,
senior
Ed.
staff make good money. Why aren't they doing their jobs? Where's the accountability?
The,
Are
the,
they ever going to have to answer for this?
the person who hired him was Tim Hudak, former PC party leader. Imagine that.
He's got pictures. His whole family has pictures.
He's the fucking head of school. He's great friends with him and everything. Imagine that. So that was Tim Hudak who hired that piece of shit, and he's great friends with his family. So
unbelievable.
Fucking pedos. Like I said, they're all fucking pedo protectors, and I'm starting to get a fucking clear picture of why Doug Ford, Paul Calandra, the education minister, and Sam Goofsterhoff won't fucking sit there and put these protections we want to place in place, because they're fucking pedo protectors. They don't care about the Ontario's children. They don't care about your children. They want to fucking put them just to make those kids to become victims for these fucking predators, and that's why they won't do it. I'll fucking be damned if Niagara West fucking votes in Oosterhoff or the PC party again. I'll be fucking, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And fucking, that would be the ultimate betrayal of all Ontarians if you fucking people vote these fucking goofs in again.
Well, we got to go after the executive and the provincial conservatives right now, because they're the ones that set the policy.
Oh, look at this. Listen, are you guys not angry and just want to wipe them out? Well, you just heard how I just spoke a little bit passionate there. You're fucking goddamn right I'm fucking angry. 100%. Can I wipe them out? No, I don't want to fucking go to jail for the rest of my life over a bunch of fucking pedophile protectors. But I'll be fucking goddamn pissed off if fucking all these people in Niagara West fucking vote Sam Goofsterhoff in again. I'll be pissed even more if fucking everybody in Ontario votes the fucking PC party in, because you're getting it right now. Like, it's been how many years now that we've been riding them and pressuring them to make the change, and they won't make it. Why? And when you ask them the question why, they won't tell you why, and they avoid the whole question as far as Sam Goofsterhoff goes. But the rest of you fucking losers like Ford and Calandra, they won't even answer the emails. They won't answer at all. All right? So it doesn't matter. This is what you fucking people don't understand. It doesn't matter if it's a PC party, the Liberal Party, the NDP. They're all the problem here. And I'm not going to bash the NDP, as a matter of fact, because the NDP is the only fucking party that stepped up and came forward with us to the Queen's Park to have a fucking our press conference. And it's the NDP who's going to end up having to bring a private members bill to get this stuff done in, when this should not be happening. It shouldn't be politicized. It's not about fucking party politics. Doesn't matter what party is it. All parties should agree and have this done right away. And this is something that can be done within literally, and I'm not shitting you, 5 minutes. And it can be done by a ministerial order by Paul Calandra, the Minister of Education, and they could do it right then and there. In 5 minutes, guys, literally. They don't even need to write a bill to go to the Legislative Assembly to have a vote. They don't need to do anything like that for this. Fuck the New Blue. I like the New Blue. I like their party leader. But hey, they spoke up against Ford. Of course they did. Of course they did. But you got to see, they're not, and it's not MPs. It would be MPPs, not MPs. You're getting federal and provincial politics mixed up. But they don't have anyone elected, and they don't have any power to do anything. But this is the problem. These guys that are elected are pieces of shit. They want to make victims out of your children. They want to keep a fresh supply of victims to their fucking pedophiles that they're protecting. They do not give two shits for your kids. Why would they do it in anything else? But when it comes to that, they won't. And just so happens to be a coincidence that they're tied to that school since 1978. Ask yourself, how did they get away with almost 50 fucking years, 48 years of abuses of all types, from sexual to physical to mental abuses there for fucking 48 years? How did they do it?
I'll tell you how they did it.
A big fucking shield of protection, that's how.
Yeah, shield of protection. We didn't have the internet back then. And even now that we got the internet, look at the shadow banning that we're going through. Our numbers are disgusting. Like, we just don't get out there. Why? Because we're bringing truth out, facts. We're looking for accountability, and we get shadow banned.
What did the head of X say? Freedom of speech, but no freedom of reach.
There you go. But you guys,
exactly what it is, man.
You guys are watching this, and the people that have been watching this in the future, you guys can share this out, bring more awareness to what's going on. I'm doing my part by getting the information out. That's all I can do. I'm not a survivor. I'm not a victim.
Yeah, and Murray, I don't think I'm getting angry at you, because Lord knows I'm not. I just speak passionately when it comes to this kind of shit, and it's not directed towards you. It's directed towards the elected fucking idiot pedo protectors.
Well, we had, back in October, we were at Queen's Park. And, you know, there was that bill. Like, they didn't do anything. Basically, they don't check on who works. And I think, was it Monique who actually found out that they're not doing it? Like, they're like 8 to 15 former Robert Land staff that are working at another school.
It's not that, it's wholesale change. But anyways, we won't talk about that.
Okay.
It's crazy. Like, nobody will. You just can't comprehend what we live through. You really can't. You're constantly in a state of fear. There was a kid. I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to anything. But if you've ever watched the movie Full Metal Jacket, you'll see Gomer Pyle keeps fucking up, so they punish everyone. That was happening over and over, and then. They turned around and gave him a red blanket party. That's when what you seen them do, pull the sheet over him so he couldn't move his arms and legs, and everyone beat him took a shot on him with a fucking lock in the sock. That happened in my fucking dorm, and it wasn't a lock in the sock. It was a fucking bar of soap, but it still happened. This is the kind of shit that would happen through the school regardless. So
well, I have a story I want to share. It happened my last year. You weren't there. I was there for 4 years. So my last year, they had this new academic building, and 2 kids were roughhousing, and I'm not going to give their names. I saw them, you know, like I was there. I wasn't participating. One broke the wall, you know, threw the other one in the wall. And in essence, like, I wasn't going to rat out my friends, right? Because ratting out, like, the people who ratted people out were ostracized, beaten up, and
forget ostracized, you'd catch a fucking beating, period.
Yeah. So we end up for 2 days. The first day in February, or the end of January, we were made to stand on the parade square without gloves, with no like protectors, and it was cold, for 8 hours. Now, there were boys, they didn't let us go to the washroom. So guess what? A number of us pissed our pants. I'm fortunate I peed before, but I got to tell you, I'd never been in more pain in my life. You asked to go to the washroom, you were told to relieve it. You saw kids pissing their pants. They wouldn't let us off the fucking parade square. You know, when you had to stand at attention, and the stick, Sergeant Major Smith had a stick. It was a stick that could be separated for figuring out marching steps. Man, if you if you got out of step, he fucking hit you with it, right? Fucking abuse. And we were just standing there. And the next day, they made us run the block. Like, in the middle of February, which was about, I don't know, it was like an 18-mile run, the block. It was like the whole area. They called it the block because it was like part of it was the train tracks we'd have to run on for miles. And it was ironic that a few years later, 2 boys of Robert Land committed suicide by going on those exact tracks, and were run over. But I remember group punishment. That always happened. But I remember those 2 days. I swear to God, I wanted to die. I wasn't going to rat out my 2 friends, because guess what would have happened, Ed, if I ratted them out? First of all, I wouldn't have any friends. Number 2, the punishment they would have gotten would have been 10 times worse than our collective punishment of standing on the parade square all day and running that 18-mile block with army boots. We weren't running with running shoes. These were not comfortable. We're talking, they were like solid rubber. We were wearing army boots that are worn by grown men. And this was something that was regularly done. Like if a night master came in, some stupid kid who is like 18 years old, who got hired and he got to exercise his power over these kids, he'd take us out in our underwear in the middle of February. And we just stand there. And Steph could tell about like that, because he's got tons of story like that. And this was something that you became used to. But I'll tell you what the worst thing was. It was being forced to witness it. I mentioned earlier that they would make kids dig their own graves and stand in it. And you're a young kid. Let's say you're like 12, 13, 14, and these people have power, right? Your parents sent you to this place, right? People run away and the cops bring them back. So they do this, and they don't know if they're going to be buried alive. You know what I mean? It's like it was done for pure power. And I have a crazy story I have to talk about Wayne McNess. What happened to our good friend, Ed?
He probably got called away. He'll be back.
Okay, so let me tell you about this guy, Wayne McNess. He got a number of charges. So, Steph, I'm going to share with you a story as an adult when I started waking up to this crap. Okay.
Yeah. I just had the animal was calling, but you know what, Peter? Before you break into that,
I'll
tell you right now, from the age of 13, I have not been able to sleep. I get anywhere from an hour to 45 minutes of sleep from 13. That's exactly 45 years of this, because we were living in a fucking state of constant fear that I couldn't sleep anymore. And that stuck with me all my life.
You didn't know what, like, you're sleeping and then some guy who's a loser, and a loser in life, because I'm old enough to say it, is given a little power and he abuses kids. That school just attracted these fucking losers. That's what they are. They're losers in regular life. And the thing is, as an adult, if I saw that happening to a child, I'm a father, I swear to God, I'd be in jail. I would be in jail. I would be in jail for what was done. But I have to share with you a crazy story, part of my deprogramming. So I'm writing my thesis, my last year in university, on total institutions. I'm going back to the total institution, right? I'm in denial. I want to try to understand where this comes from. So I go up to the school, and we're in the dining hall, and this thing is breaking fire code. Like, they had a dining hall that they had about 140 people in a room that should have only had about 30. And it is noisy, just whispering. And there was this guy, Wayne McNess. He was a pathological liar. And he's the one who went to jail for starting that private school that did child endangerment. And you guys can look it up. And this guy here was fucked. So I'm sitting next to him in the dining hall, And this guy here, he can punish anybody, make them eat soap and whatever. We're talking, he couldn't like manicure his nose hairs and his ears hair. He was bald. He had like a horseshoe, but he let it was disheveled. And here's a guy who's like punishing people for their deportment, right? Like we're talking, you could have braided his nose hair. I wanted it's like it was gross. So we're talking, and he looks at me and he says, "Excuse me." And we're in a room, which is a dining room, which should only hold about 30 people, and there's like 140 people in this thing. We're talking, you're sitting like this. You remember, Steph? You're sitting like, and you're eating as fast as you can. Before, are you getting traumatized remembering this?
You're freaking bringing back a lot of things.
Okay, but I have to continue with this story. So I'm sitting next to this man, and he says, "Excuse me," and he starts staring at someone. He just because he could, right? And I'm sitting next to this guy. I'm having a very uncomfortable conversation because he's sort of anal, like I'm the big man. You know what I mean? He had something to prove, right? So how does he prove how powerful he is to me? Because it was for me to see this. He stares. He's staring at a kid. Everybody starts noticing, except the kid is the last person to notice, right? Like he's staring at this kid. And out of nowhere, he yells. And I say, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like 22 years old at that point. Like I'm a little deprogrammed, right? I'm thinking, what a fucking asshole, right? And he starts yelling, and he asks this kid, "What are you doing?" And it was like, and the kid goes and doing what he was supposed to do, and he goes and says, like, and everyone stopped, and we're talking, they only have like 15 minutes to eat lunch, right? Steph, maximum, maybe 10 minutes because it was cafeteria style, right? So you get like, by the time you get there, you'd have to eat really quickly and then clean up, and then you'd have to go back to class. Like, I don't know. We had probably like a total of.
I don't even think it was 15 minutes, but you can't tell because you're a little.
Well, the whole thing is he stops.
There's no time.
He stops it and he yells. I swear to God, my eardrum is like just like I don't know if Robert Land was bad or that was bad because it was traumatic seeing it. I'm thinking, what an asshole. He did it because he had fucking power. And that's the part that made me disgusted. And I'm angry at the government. I'm angry at the military. I'm angry at the Niagara police. Why? I'm angry at, the finance minister of education who happened to be Dr. Algie, whose wife emptied out her entire, she was the top child psychologist in Toronto. She emptied out her clientele. There was the ombudsman was like subsidizing the school. They were giving money. Kids were going to the school back in the late 70s and early 80s, and they were being sent there, and they never checked on the school. There was no oversight. And when you looked at the guy who started the school, he was 28 years old. What the fuck did he know about children? Except he got involved with this psychiatrist named Murray McGovern. And this guy here was a crackpot. He died in 1986, but he believed in something called Melu theory. And what that basically is, beat the kid with the stick and he'll be good. And if he doesn't, if you beat him with the stick and now he doesn't eat with his mouth, he's approved.
Hey, could you imagine? Because I know people who have children that are autistic, and actually I advocate for those children. I've advocated for them in Human Rights Tribunal. Could you imagine you got a kid that's got, 4 or 5 of the fucking on the spectrum of autism, being sound or like the noise and stuff, and makes them freak out. I don't know if you've ever seen an autistic child freak out, but could you imagine that? And I can't help it but to laugh when I see it's not a funny matter, but because of Robert Land, where their solution to any fucking autism, ADD, what the hell do you call it? Obsessive compulsive OCD. Could you imagine? All you need is a big fucking stick to beat them with, and that's fine. You'll beat the illness out of them, and that's the approach Robert Land done. And what South Park done was they had these kids in the one episode, and the one starts freaking out and everything. The teacher freaking slaps it, and it stops. And then the next one starts, slaps it, stops. When it gets to the last one automatically is stopped. It's not doing that because it knows it's gonna get hit. That's the fucking that's the irony. That is exactly what Robert Land was. You can compare it to that episode of fucking South Park, for fuck's sakes. Beat the illness out of the kid.
All the studies show that if you spend time with a kid and you show them love and interest, like I'll give you, like I'm a parent. I know that if you go and give a child security, they've proven this in study after study that the child will feel more comfortable to venture out. But if they're insecure, they don't feel comfortable. So they're beating these kids, and yeah, they're behaving themselves, but guess what? Is externalized. Like what makes someone want to do something is someone gives them something positive. They tell them something positive about themselves. I'll tell you a story that it bothered me when I was still Stockholm Syndrome. There was a guy who I went to school with. He was a recruit the entire year. He went to OSA twice. He was one of the top runners in Ontario, but they starved him to death. They literally, his whole family, his brother, his father were like 6'5", 6'6". He's 6'2", right? Because they literally starved him, right? And he wasn't such a bad kid. He was a young kid. He was 14 and he became 15. Well, the headmaster at the graduation, what did he say to him? And this guy's been telling me the same thing since June 1984. He always says it when he brings up the school. He's only there for a year. He said that Bowman goes up to him and gives him the worst prophecy. He says, Mr. Williams, you haven't learned one iota. Like, who does that to a kid who's leaving? You know what they used to do, Ed? These are young kids. So the only way they get kicked out of school is if you were confused with your sexuality when we went there. Like if you were caught with another guy, right? That was the only way you could get out, right? That was the only way. But you know what, actually, the 4 years, which I didn't realize, all the guys I know who were caught, first of all, they didn't live gay lives. They didn't. And they didn't. But you know what they did on the way out? They brought them in front of the academy and then shamed them just before their parents came to pick them up. They publicly shamed them. They humiliated them. Damaged these kids for the rest. It's bad enough they're getting kicked out and they're going and they don't know what they're going to do, right? And they're complete. But they shamed them. They did this. This is something that was disgusting. And it's like when I think about that, as a human being, it's bad enough they're being kicked out and they don't know what the world's going to be. It's the middle of the year. They got them up and they fucking shamed them in front of everybody.
So here's something you're going to find interesting.
Just makes me so angry.
So 2025 was the last year that shithole concentration torture fucking camp was open. We shut it down that year. I've been dying to find men that went to that school at that year, and I found them. Over the last 3 days, I've been talking to several of them. They're all fucking awesome guys. And you know what they said? Remember, they were started fucking when the graduation date, trying to throw us off. But I was doing the recon there, so we knew when they were actually going to
Don't mess with Stefano, man.
So I was talking with him, and they were like, "Dude, you have no idea. We wanted to come and run out to you guys and fucking talk with you." And I'm like, shit, you should have, because there's no way they would have been getting you back. We would have went to jail to fucking keep you from going back. So these kids, at the time, they wanted to come to us, and the academy fucking threatened them and fucking kept them there and put the fences up and the fucking black fucking sheets over them to keep them from coming to us. They went and lied to them and told them that oh, it's media and stuff. We're not media. Go fuck your fucking head. We're not media. We were there. We wanted to meet those kids. We wanted to talk to them. And the funny thing is, what have I learned from speaking with them? What you just brought up about when we were at school, you couldn't get fucking expelled for nothing except you're confused about your sexuality. In the last year, when all the lawsuits started flowing on them, you would look weird at them, you're expelled. They were expelling everyone. The one kid, over half of his barracks were expelled right away in the first half of the school year. They were all gone. They were expelling people left, right, and center. You know why that is, right? They don't have to spend money on these kids. All this $64,000 a kid they were charging, they were just pocketing all the money they fucking could. They wouldn't have to spend it on them.
Right, because they couldn't sue to get their money back.
There you go. They were fucking expelling them left, right, and center.
Parents were paying $64,000 a year for the.
I know it's more than that. No,
for a kid, it was $64,000. As far as I know, isn't that what the last year was? Somewhere around.
I can't remember. When I first went there, it was like $6,800.
It was $8,000 for me, and then the next year was 16. So it was doubling every year. But it was.
I don't know if it was doubling.
That I'm aware of.
I just remember at my fourth year that cheer we gave, blood and guts, rocks and sand, were the saps who paid $10,000 instead of like the saps in Barberland with the saps they paid $10,000.
That's it. Hey,
it's like our parents were paying the cognitive dissonance, because I don't leave my parents out. Like my father was a letter writer. You know what I mean? Like anytime there's something in the Toronto Star, it's. What did he know, right? What did he know what we were going through, right? Because we were told they had a handbook saying your son's going to complain and say this and that. They're exaggerators, and there's the headmaster in the schools like saying that these kids are liars and exaggerators and whatever. And that's what they're like in the handbook. Your son's going to exaggerate, right?
They fucking had him brainwashed. They had every angle fucking cut off from the.
Yeah, they had. It's like it's like so. There's a guy doing a documentary right now, and he's gone through all the papers, and I'm like feeling really bad because my father was defending the school, but I don't feel so bad because this guy, the shark, his father loved the school. Like we're talking, they were part of the cult too.
They got roped in, but guys, after I left, there's one thing you can thank my dad for, and that is. He brought you guys hockey and he brought you guys soccer, so that was there.
Okay, Steph. Let's tell people about how you got on the hockey team. I'm going to tell everybody. We were pretty good when it came to the third period. Let me share with you why. Because to audition, you had to run the loop, which was 10 miles. You had to run. That was like the tryout. It wasn't like skill. It was like you had to run and then
the block.
It gets better. It gets better. Before every practice, practice would happen all the time. Even when we didn't go and practice on the ice, like on the weir, right? We play on the weir and outside, right? Because they weren't spending money for us to go into a rink. But when we used to play, we used to always we did well in the third period. Why? Because before practice, they made us run 4 miles. They made us run 4 miles. So whatever we lacked in skill, the other teams, they're in high school, they're smokers. We just we just go and we still had stamina, right? Like we couldn't hold sticks, but we knew that we still were not out of breath.
Hey, look, speak for yourself. I was a seasoned veteran in hockey, okay? And remember when we had the exhibition game from the team, our own team. I went to my team and I left Robert Land and we smoked these guys like 12-1. It was freaking a destruction. It was great. And that wasn't no insult or getting back at you guys or anything like that. It was because it was the school. It wasn't you guys. It was the school. I just couldn't fucking play for the school team. My brother did, but I didn't. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, Tossa was always missing a few things.
All right, guys. We're coming up to 2 hours. Final thoughts, Peter?
Well, Ed, thank you for having us on and me on. And I love you, Steph. You're my brother of trauma. And I think giving in the message is important. And I was really glad to see Monique on and about the rally happening in Dundas Square in Toronto this Saturday. I think it's very important. I think all the listeners.
Hang on. It's not just Toronto. This is around North America.
Everywhere. But let's be faced. I know you guys are in Toronto. I'm a Toronto boy. I don't know if you guys are like, you notice.
No, the Blue Jays. Blue Jays, yes.
But I think it's very important. I think because we've already gone through it, Steph and I, and in essence, all we can do is use Robert Lynn as a metaphor, where the fact is there's abuse that happens, and it happens when good people choose to be blind. And that's really what the message is, because like this happened to me, Steph, over 40 years ago. We've lost hundreds of people who went through the same things just at our little school that had, I don't know, there's probably about a 15% death rate, and not normal, drugs, suicide, being killed, all really bad stuff, and hundreds and maybe 1,000 or two who had really terrible lives. Because look, Steph and I are the most normal.
I'm not even going to comment to that one.
Okay, but what I'm saying is I want to thank you, gentlemen. And on Saturday, I think going out, making your voices heard about children being abused across Canada, to go on the website and find out how you can participate in the Show Your Voice. Because again, as I said earlier, with that statement, when the people fear government, there is tyranny, and when the government fears people, there is liberty. And that's Thomas Jefferson. Unfortunately, he was an American, and you guys are in Canada.
Are you saying that we're fucked?
Yeah. Fuck the Jays.
Attaboy, that's the spirit.
I'm going to wear my baldness with pride.
All right,
Thank
Peter,
you,
later. Thanks for coming on. Stuff. Final comment.
Yeah, guys, just pressure the shit out of the government. Protest constant, protest often. There's one thing I know from spending 10 years in Queen's Park when my friend was an MPP is they are terrified when they have to stare down an angry mob. So you get out there, you do your protest, fuck Dundas Square, fuck any other fucking place, go to your legislative assembly in Ontario. They're the ones that make the laws for the education system. And go to Ottawa, because they're the ones that make the laws in the criminal system. So, and there's two freaking sex offender registries, one on the provincial level, one on the federal level. Make them both public. Scream out the top of the rooftops. They need to make them public and save the public from these fucking monsters that walk the streets.
Well, the thing about these rallies is it helps us get organized.
Who cares about getting us organized? We need action, and we need to get results. Forget organizing. We're organized already. We're getting a lot of people there. Forget Dundas Square. It's in the middle of nowhere. No politician's going to give a shit. These need to happen at fucking Queen's Park. These need to happen at Ottawa. Those two places. Maybe alternate. Once at Ottawa, once at Queen's Park. And don't become a fucking tool for the Conservative Party that wants to gain popularity so they can win a freaking election. So they'll say, oh, yeah, we'll do this for you. And the next thing you know, you're just a fucking another tool in the system, and they lose like they will anyways under weak leadership, because he wants tyranny himself. by suspending our constitutional rights for 5 years right off the hop if elected. Hell no. You imagine the abuses that'll happen. Add the pressure, put them on everyone, speak to every freaking party. It doesn't matter who it is. This is not a party, a political fucking issue. This is an issue that needs to be addressed, and it is common sense throughout fucking Canada, period. Not just Ontario, but throughout Canada. This needs to be driven into those bastards' heads, because right now, all they're doing is feeding your kids and serving them up on a platter for fucking pedophiles. Fuck that. Fuck them. Time to fucking put the pressure on them.
All right. Later. Thanks for coming on. See you next Thursday. All right, guys. I'm going to leave you with this my final thoughts. Right now, there's people all over the country, and I do believe in rallies, and I think we can grow this thing. People need to get educated, and people got to be made aware of the issues. That's why I'm a big proponent of coming to the rallies on wherever they may be around the country and around the whole continent, quite frankly. That's where we organize. That's where we figure out who we're going to stand behind, who we're going to back. And then maybe next time there's a rally, maybe it will be in Queen's Park if we get enough people interested. A couple dozen people ain't going to handle it. We need thousands and thousands. But unless people realize there's an issue, are they going to show up? And you can see Canadians, look at the damage they've been doing to us. And this is the next generations coming up. And we're going to let this stand? Think about that. Share this out, guys. We don't make any money from this. We don't ask for money on the show either. I'm just trying to get the information out there. I want to see positive change. And it's going to happen slowly. Already, Lisa Robinson, she's getting motions happening. And we're going to spread this out. But again, we need pressure from the public. See you guys on Saturday. I'll be in Toronto, 2 o'clock, Dundas Square. Share this out, guys. Thank you.